Manga's cool. Yeah, that's the intro. This is manga recommendations, just random things I've been buying, reading, anything I have physically just lying around down there. First things first is, let's see. Excuse me. Here we go. Here's a good one. Love me for, is that what I am? Who I am. It's close enough. I kind of know it more by the Japanese title, which, now to think about it, I don't remember. So, cool. It's just the title, Love Me for Who I Am. It's just, it sounds a little more awkward in English, whereas, like, Japanese one, if you're reading in Japanese, it's just a bunch of words you don't know the meaning of. So, you know, it sounds correct, it sounds appropriate, and you don't really mind it. Love Me for Who I Am, though, is I like this one a lot. This is it's an ongoing series about a bunch of characters along the LGBT spectrum. Our main character, Mogumo, who's on the cover, or he or she, well, I'm getting to that. She's gender fluid. I say she. I don't really know what the terminology, I guess they. They are gender fluid. And Mogumo's offered to come work at this cafe full of other people. It's called a girly boy cafe, and they're all people on this spectrum of LGBTQ. So, like, one character's gay, one character is a trans woman, another one's a trans woman, actually, person who owns a shop. Another person is just a cross-dressing cosplayer, you know, stuff like that. And they all just sort of get along. And it's pretty cool. It's nice to have, like, a lot of manga try to have themes like this, but they always fixate on one type of character, one type of personality, one type of problem. So usually you'll get something like, you know, Horo Musuko, which is like just all about transgender characters. You know, some of which have different sexualities, but you know, the main character themselves is transgender. A lot of like Yuri and Yaoi manga, which are specifically about being gay or lesbian. Stuff like Bokura no Hentai is also more about transgenderism, cross-dressing. Some characters are gay. It's more about the former two things, though. So this manga kind of gets a lot of mileage out of its premise. It's not too far in. Currently, I think there's only around 20 chapters currently released online. I think this is the only volume currently in English, but I was already a fan of it from the online translations, which is why I decided to pick it up. And as for the translation itself, I think it's fine. I think it's good. It's really nice to have this stuff in print because the characters are cute. Cute characters. May is best girl, I must say. Where is she? Here she is. Oh, she's adorable. Oh, she's sweet. She's good. Good stuff. Really the main draw for this manga for me is that it is wholesome at times. Obviously, it's going to lapse into a lot of drama, and that's kind of where it can be a little more muddy for me. Not because I think it's taking these themes too seriously, which, I mean, it kind of has to. These are heady themes, these are heady topics. You need to address them seriously. However, it can be a little heavy-handed or a little too much at times. You know, you get these characters who, like, their faces kind of contort in that somewhat edgy way, whereas, like, where I prefer it is when you have the drama more evened out with the comedy, with the more light-hearted elements, and that's, to me, when the manga is at its best, and it makes for some wholesome stuff. These characters are very likable, and they're fun to watch, which is why I like it. That's why I like it. I recommend it. It's still currently going. If you want to, you know, go ahead and get it caught up on it, then you can read it online like I did. I didn't even know this was getting translated until I just saw it in the store, and I was like, fuck, yeah, give me that. I'll take that any day. That's cool. Actually, this year was a great year for stuff I've been reading online, which is almost 100% Yuri manga. So I'm quite happy with this year and 2021 as it's going on. Some great stuff got released, especially by 7Cs. Bless them. They're doing God's work. Next manga. Let's see. This one here. Oh, baby. Inio Asano's Downfall. This is easily my favorite Inio Asano manga ever. Besides Poon Poon. I can't be that guy. I like, this is already the hipster pick for favorite Inio Asano manga. Like, Fuck, I kind of have to cut that somewhere. Like, this is already the hipster pick for, like, best Inio Asano manga. But even I have to be like, yeah, Pun Pun is still my favorite. Like, not Dead Dead, not, what is it called? I don't know. Solanine? Yeah, that one. This one, I think, is more niche. However, the execution of it is incredible. Is, in my opinion, the Inio Asano at his technical best. I think his art was on point this entire manga. Even more so than some Dead Dead Demons chapters. So that one has more experimentation, which is, you know, one of the biggest draws of that manga. He's really playing around with these CG assets and stuff like that. And is creating things that I've probably never seen before in a manga, whether you like it or don't. It's just really interesting. This one, he goes back to his more grounded aesthetic, his more grounded execution and stories, and you get a character who is just a manga author in his, is it early to mid 40s? I don't exactly remember his age, but he just finished writing this long-running series that had taken up almost like 20 years of his life, and he's found that no one really cares. It's met with like no fanfare, and he's kind of jaded and salty about it. And everyone's just like, when are you going to make your next thing? You're going to spend another 20 years writing this. He's like, I don't want to do that. It's a lot of work. So I ain't going to do it. He just starts going on hiatus, basically, and being a douchebag to everyone around him because he just hates manga now. It's like ruined his life because he spent the last 20 years doing something that no one appreciated. And he felt he had like thrown his heart into. If you're wondering how much of this is like Inio Asano putting himself into a character, it's a lot. In fact, the first, is it third page or so? One of these opening pages, when you see the main character's face, he has a yellow hair. He has yellow hair, you see that? It's almost like Inio Asano has yellow hair and is kind of big and bushy like that. It's almost like he's a manga author who had a long-running series like this, that he put like everything that he believed and thought into, and then had to finish it and then just make another thing. So yeah, I think the self-projection is at an all-time high for him. However, this manga I think has been misunderstood a bit, and what it is about and what you're supposed to get out of it. A lot of people can't stand it because the main character is an asshole. He is just a repugnant human being. However, that's, you know, this is where I drop that cliche that that's the point. However, what makes the point resonate with me and other people who like this manga is that you're not really supposed to, you know, like him much. You can empathize with him because you can see where he's coming from, but despite the fact that his logic is oftentimes very couched in experience, and you can't really argue against him. Like, what he's saying is not incorrect, like, about the manga industry, that it is, you know, chewing up and spitting out these younger authors and just cashing in on their image as they're young, on their, like, hot and new stories, whereas, like, older manga authors will spend their entire careers, like, becoming better, but then losing their audience, or just not being appreciated or being recognized as, like, good or better than the people who are currently working as like rookies in the industry, stuff like that. And how manga does not, the industry does not support those veteran authors much, and just kind of takes advantage of the younger ones. He is kind of correct in all of this, and is very jaded, and he comes to hate it. However, the manga always portrays him as an asshole, so it's like, you know, on one hand, he's not wrong. On the other hand, his reaction and the way he takes this revelation he's had is portrayed as the complete wrong way of doing things, because he's such a fucking asshole. And what I think you're supposed to get out of this manga is not that it is like, not that it is all-encompassing, though, like it is saying everything it has to say, but it is a manga about a certain point that anyone working in a creative field will be at some time in their life. At some point, everyone might have this moment where you are that character, and it's not a good thing. It is not a good thing at all. However, if you have ever been there, if you were even somewhat there, like you can just understand it, you've felt the emotions even disparate before, this character is everything that represents. And you'll feel it. I felt it. And I'm like 21. I've related to this 40-year-old fucking dude more than most characters my age. Because it just encapsulates that feeling of just cynicalness towards the thing you love. So much that you want to vomit just how much you hate how much the thing you love is being messed up and is impure now, the way you used to see when you were younger, when you used to be that young person who was new and you just had nothing but dreams, and then this industry and all the people in it just seemed to corrode its image for you, and now you can't see it as anything but tainted. If you've ever been like that, if you've ever had that experience, if you've ever even just felt that emotion slightly, that manga, you might want to check it out. It's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Yeah. Next manga. I really didn't organize any of this. Bruh. Paradise Kiss. This is a big boy. This is a huge one. This took me forever to finish because I was lazy and I didn't feel like it. Despite the fact that this is an incredible manga by the same author as Nana. I forget her name. Ayazawa. This one, I don't know how much this is true, but I heard one time that it was based off of a documentary of David Bowie. And if that's true, I feel it. Because this manga is the most like pop punk, fashionable air and tone ever. It is so funny. It is actually funny in very endearing ways. All the characters are stylish and cool, like this manga. A lot of them are on the spectrum of LGBTQ, and they're just so down with it. Like, while this one is like a coming of age story, people learning about their stuff, about their orientation or their gender or their sexuality. This one is like everyone's already figured it out, and they're just like, let's fucking make fashion. We're all just weird people who are not really on the wavelength of normies. We're gonna make fashion. We're gonna make clothing, and it's gonna be fucking dope. The main character, she is kind of normie. She's just like taking tests. She's just doing what she's told. She's just trying to get by, and she didn't really know what she wants to do with her life. And it's led to her feeling stagnant. And then she meets all these like liberal art kids at this nearby college, and they're like, "You want to model for us?" And she's like, "I don't know. I don't know quite. Modeling, huh? It sounds like a dead end. I don't know. Am I pretty enough?" And then she eventually decides, like, yeah, I'll do it. And for half the book, she's just basically trying to sort things out with this the main character, George. Well, the other main character, I mean. She's the main character. George is this other dude. She's trying to sort things out with him because they start dating, and he wants to be a head fashion designer, but he makes clothing that is just not commercially viable. It's too experimental. It's too off the wall. But he thinks she wears it perfectly, and she wants to be the one to wear it. And so their own conflicted self or inner feelings about where they want to go with their careers, whether they think they can even achieve these careers in the first place, knowing that they're unstable and that they might not last long, or that they could just get kicked to the roadside by the industry at any point, kind of makes for the main drama in the story. And you know, of course, like, both of them have family issues. A lot of them have, like, you know, some inner circle drama, some stuff you might hear about when you're sewing with your friends. And a lot of that comes to a head in this manga, which obviously is fucking huge. But if I just have to say, this is the most fashionable manga I've ever read. It is so cool, and it is very funny. And it has a lot of, oddly enough, it's got a lot of, like, fourth wall breaks. Ayazawa, she loves to, like, mention that this manga is running in a magazine, and one of my favorite fourth wall breaks possibly ever, where the character, she says, like, "You've appeared in this fashion magazine." And she's like, "What magazine?" And you're like, "You don't know, it's the one this manga's published in." And she just stares at them, like, horrified. They just like, "Don't think about it, honey, it's okay." And just, that stuff gets me. This is if you're ready, if you want a big one, it's a good romance story. It's got this rock and roll air to it. Like, it just tackles everything. It's like a gut punch. Like, we're gonna show you this story and you're gonna like it. That's how you feel reading it, where you're just like, the author is just like, she didn't take no for an answer. She's just gonna make you read it, and she's gonna make you like it. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. If you do like it, you might feel that. So that's cool. I give it two thumbs up. It's probably yeah. I don't read that much shoujo manga, so when I do, I'm really happy when it's really great like that, you know. So yeah, cool. Next manga, this one, Rose of Versailles. I haven't actually read this one yet. That was really good. I recommend this. What else we got? Something up here. Here we go. Next manga. Ping Pong. Ping Pong. This manga's fucking dope. The anime has become one of the most widely acclaimed sports anime of all time, and for good reason. It's incredible. The directing is great. Animation's on top of this game. And it might just be one of the best coming-of-age stories ever. Because every character has some different perspective on the idea of professionalism. And when you put them all together in such a package, you just get this very nuanced message. And it's, you know, also helped by the fact that the main characters themselves are very compelling and fit very specific roles to tell this story. And if you've seen the anime, which I imagine a lot of you have, it's really popular. It's been around for, you know, like 6 years now. You might be wondering, what's the art look like? Does it look just as like scribbly and weird as the anime? And the answer is yes, it absolutely does. I was shocked picking this up. Look at it. It actually does look just like the fucking anime. It's kind of incredible. This is the first manga I've ever read by Taiyo Matsumoto, but I didn't realize how big a deal this guy was. So, turns out, he's also the guy who wrote Tekken Concrete. If you've never heard of that, it also got a movie. Also looks like Ping Pong, both the manga and the anime movie, and it's also kind of incredible. So, good stuff. This guy, this is only volume 1. I haven't seen the other one in stores. I don't even know if it's out yet, but I believe it is. It's really good. I don't really know how else to put it. It's just the way the story is structured, the way you will go through one character, then to the next one, to another one, and you just keep going back and forth, and how they all intersect, and how they all meet on the ping pong table court, I guess I would call it. It's just filled with energy. It is just such an incredible action manga. The paneling, the compositions themselves are so dynamic, and it just makes you really want to get to that fucking next chapter, dude. You're ready for every single battle, everything. It takes all the original, like all the ideas that you would find in a sports drama, just, you know, jobbing and setting up these matches and these big tense battles, and it just does it perfectly. It feels like it's almost trying to say, like, hey, I can do it better than everything else. It's almost braggadocious with how almost easily it can just blow through all these things. You know, where like a lot of traditional sports anime or manga, they start off with like one character, and then they go join the team, and then they have to work their way up, or they're usually the underdog. It's just like all the characters. There's just so many characters all the time doing different things, and they're all important, and they're all integral to the narrative and the themes of the story, and it feels good. Just, you get so much progress done in this book. Just one chapter feels like so much happens, and it's so dense. Look at it, it's dense, and it feels good to read, and I like it. It's a good manga. Like, look at this. Oh, that looks cool. Look how cool that is. You know? Oh god, it is shocking how much like the anime is, but I'm not even sure which one I prefer. I obviously haven't finished the manga. I don't even know if the second volume is out. But from what I've read, it's every bit as good. If you like the anime, you're gonna like the manga. If you haven't seen either, then really, if you just see this at a store, might as well fucking pick it up. I know, like, I think the anime is on Crunchyroll and stuff like that, so you can find it pretty easily, but, I mean, either way, I think you'll be entertained. This story is incredible. The artwork is, like, you know, people might rag on the artwork sometimes, but in terms of the proportions and the compositions, just what's the word? Like, the perspective shots that Taiyo Matsumoto draws, they are always on point and, anatomically correct, but also make for very striking illustrations that just make the tension, the pacing of the story feel all the more powerful. It really makes you feel like you're the ping pong ball just going back and forth across the table. It's some incredible stuff. I highly recommend this one. So let's see, is there anything else I have here that's worth talking about? Of course! Witch Hat Atlayer. I have like 5 volumes of this thing. It's really good. I like to read it when I want something just pleasant, though I'll get into that in a second. It's sort of a critique, but it will have these really cool For one thing, the art is gorgeous. It is incredible. It is wispy, like an old, I don't even know, like if you went to like Finland and you found like an old Viking book that's just full of these mythological illustrations of beasts. That's what it feels like to read it. It captures that sense of wonder and magic that a lot of series kind of fail to do because they seem so mundane and generic by comparison. Whereas like this one, you get into a lot of the magic systems, how they work, and how, spoilers, this is pretty obvious if you are paying attention, but the magic itself is just sort of a metaphor and analog to art in general, so it's really cool. The reason I ended up buying this one a while back is because Little Witch Academia is kind of, same themes, characters somewhat similar. I obviously prefer that one. This one, while very wholesome and nice, I have kind of a critique, which is that the main premise of the manga, which is that the main character is trying to get her mother is her frozen. Her mom was frozen because the main character used like forbidden magic, and she has to unfreeze her. In order to do that, she has to become a witch apprentice. It's kind of my main problem with the manga, actually, is that I find all the magic, all the little slice of life elements absolutely enjoyable and very fun to read, especially with the very light-hearted tone that the manga usually will have, plus the gorgeous artwork that, helps emphasize that. But then on the side, you have like an actual dramatic and dark plot line, and I feel like they can kind of clash. Like, it doesn't quite have the same tonal consistency that something like Little Witch Academia has, where one of the reasons I read things with cute witches doing cute things is because I want to fucking feel like a cute witch, man. I want to do cute things. I want to see them do cute things, and I like that. And it's not like I'm saying this is like the plot is bad or anything, but I feel like it can deter like these two elements, the plot versus just the day-to-day things, the more low-key plot, as we'll call it. They can kind of feel at odds a bit. And, when you have a narrative where the entire conceit is trying to get someone's mother back from after being frozen, it's sort of on a timer at that point. It's like, we have to get things done as timely as possible. Yet, we're going to take some detours. We're going to take some detours. We're going to have a few days where we're just kind of like, practicing some spell circles and having fun outside and outdoors, going perusing around the town, shopping and stuff. So you see where I'm getting at. It's not like any of this is bad. This manga is still really great. I still think the plot is, unfortunately, the most, mainstream thing about it. The thing that might most be generic in the way that other fantasy stories are. Whereas, like, the artwork, the characters, and the magic and stuff, that is all very interesting, and I really want to just see more of it. However, the plot can kind of get in the way. And it's a little sad because it's kind of my least favorite part of it. Some people may disagree. Some people may find it great. Some people prefer these like more plot-centered things, and I understand why it is that way because it is a I believe it is a weekly manga and is still ongoing, and it'll probably be ongoing for a while because, goddamn, people probably want to keep looking at this artwork. I mean, it's so nice and unbelievable. Look at this frame. Look at that frame. Ain't that shit cool? This author does that all the time. Just the cool little paneling thing, stuff like that, where you see it and you're just like, that's so, yeah. You're just like, that's so cool. I like that. So this manga offers a lot in terms of just unique little things like that. It's almost like reading an old Osamu Tezuka manga where he'll just do weird experimental things just on the side and you're like, that's pretty neat, you know? But the stories themselves can somewhat be lacking. But otherwise, I mean, this is, if you're looking for just a good read, I think this is about the best one you can get. Like, it's just easy to plow through. It's pleasant, but it also has tension and stakes, drama, plot, cute characters. Good stuff. This is good. Oh, this is a very good one. Shortcuts by Usamaru Furuya. This is easily one of the best gag manga I have ever read, and also one of the most avant-garde, off-the-wall, experimental gag manga I have ever read. Oh god, where do I even start with this one? So, the reason I read this one is because Digine had an old Manga Mondays where she talked about this being one of her favorite gag manga and just outright manga in general. I thought, that's interesting. I've never heard of this. This author, on the other hand, is pretty big in the manga world right now. Has a lot of ongoing stuff and has done a lot since this manga, but this one was back in the, I believe the later 90s. And it is just as many weird ideas as possible shoved into little gag strips, all centered around the Kogal. The Kogal is a cute high school girl. And everyone, you know, just the most basic idea of the cute Japanese fashionable high schooler. And everyone loves them, they want one, and they want to be one. And so all the stories are just revolving around this idea of these schoolgirls, and sometimes not at all. In fact, a lot of, like, it's very loose with that idea of the story even being about Kogals, and the result is some of these strangest jokes you'll probably find in this medium. I don't want to spoil a lot of them because, you know, the unexpectedness, just seeing so many of them coming up constantly is part of the charm. Just the fact that you think this manga author just had an endless stream of ideas in these 2 volumes is, to me, what makes it really fascinating, because it's just so much density. You just feel like this guy never ran out of creativity, whereas so many gag manga can just become homogenous so fast, but this one is no. There's like one where he says, I don't even want to make a strip this week, I just want to do like a big, beautiful picture, and he does this really nice, gorgeous 2-page spread. However, the next chapter, and they're all called cuts, the next cut, he's like, that took a lot out of me, drawing that big 2-page spread. I'm tired. So this next manga is just going to be very rough sketches, and they're so rough that they're almost undefined. And the joke is that a outline of a dude says, hey, do you want to touch my D? And these girls are like, I don't know. Do we want to touch your D? I don't know. And then when it finally gets to the last page, he like regains his strength as an artist, and he draws in it, and he's just talking about his dog. You know, so just all kinds of weird twists like that. The way that these jokes are structured too are incredible. Just, he will have just constant twists in weird ways, all based around the framing, based around the compositions, some, you know, dialogue too. He gets full range of his art in this manga. He just takes advantage of everything. And when you read about the author, which this is one of the most fascinating things, is that this author he used to be an interpretive dancer and a sculptor. He was a crazy avant-garde artist, and he just came to manga. And so in this, one of the most fascinating, you know, usually they have at the end of a book, like, here's the author. Sometimes we did an interview with him. This is the best one I've ever read. And I think this is something Digi said in her Manga Monday recommendation too, that just reading his thoughts in this interview is fucking fascinating. This dude has lived a full life, and when you read about it, you're just like, yeah, I understand why this guy was so creative now. He just kind of experienced every type of art imaginable, and then decided to come to manga. And he wanted to explore this idea of commercial manga by being not commercial. By making a manga, let's say, we'll take cute girls, right? You know, obviously the most marketable thing in anime history. And then we'll make a manga based on it, except that it's so weird that most people probably wouldn't buy it. But I did, and I am glad I did. And so, yeah, if that sounds like your thing, you should go read it. However, I will say my favorite gag in the entire manga is, one, it is a girl in a fantasy land. She's a princess, and she's talking to these animals in the woods, and they're all staring at her. She's telling them this age-old story about something she experienced. And these two men, they're just standing off in the distance, and then they say, oh my god, the animals are so bored by this story that they haven't mauled her to death. It's a miracle. And then it says, the end. And a bunch of guys walk out of the movie crying, and two girls are like sitting there talking like, I didn't really like this movie. And then in the background, where it has the name of the movie, it's called Princess Monotone. As in like Princess Mononoke, except monotoned is how it's spelled, which is possibly one of the greatest punchlines of anything I've ever read in my life. I fucking died reading that for a good 10 minutes, just thinking about it. Like, I would laugh, calm down, think about it, look back to the page, and start laughing again. And I did that for like 10 straight minutes, and it was... I can't think the last time a joke made me do that, but I just had to sit there. I had like 3 spit takes, just trying to process like how many twists were in that one page. Because you have the twist, she's telling them a story, and then they're just bored, and that's the way they don't maul her to death. Then you have the twist that it's a movie, the twist that it's called Princess fucking Monotone, and then the extra joke that the girls didn't like the movie, but then all the men were fucking moved to tears by it. So... yeah, this is one of the greatest gag manga I've ever read. If that joke sounds funny, this might be up your alley. So yeah, I think those are all the manga I will recommend right now. That's all the ones I have around me that I'm worth talking about or that I have read. I have not actually read like this one. I'm not going to review Monster. Everyone knows Monster. It's a waste of time, honestly. You already have your own opinion. You at home, you know what you're doing. If I had an opinion, you would yell at me because it's not yours. You're like, why are you talking about Monster? I already have an opinion. So I just channeled Grandmaster Ben Feingold for some reason. But yeah, that's my manga recommendations. Hope you check them out. Hope you enjoy them if you do. Hope you like this video. Hope you like my shades. If you're wondering why I'm wearing them, it's just because looking at the camera is really awkward. See, I'm looking this way because that's at the screen of the phone, but the thing's there. So, and I can't stop my eyes from moving around every time, so glasses, bro. Glasses. Thank you.